Today's a WRAL weather alert day. We have heavy rain coming down across parts of the region. A flood watch until midnight. I'll show you what to expect.
Oh, and a rainy commute on the way. The WRAL Storm Tracker is monitoring wet roads and slowdowns during your morning drive. The trouble spots to watch out for.
And heartbreaking and raw. A Durham mother opens up after being charged in her child's tragic death.
That's my child, and it was my firearm, so I'm going to take accountability for everything.
What she says she wants every parent to hear this morning. We will have that and much more for you on your Wednesday. Thank you for joining us here. I'm Michelle McConaughey in for an HU.
And I'm Jeff Hogan. Good to have you along here. We're just getting things rolling, and it might be a slow roll this morning for a lot of folks out there. Elizabeth Gardner over the WRAL Severe Weather Center. This could be a pretty inconvenient timing for our commute.
Yeah, really. We've got some heavy rain coming down in part of the viewing area right now, especially over around Durham and Chapel Hill. Flood watch, though, in effect for almost the entire viewing area until midnight. So we are going to see rain on and off. Some of it is going to be heavy at times. We have the risk of flash flooding. We started with rain, of course, yesterday in some of our western counties. Definitely a wet commute both in the morning and in the evening. You see the yellow shaded area that covers most of the viewing area. That's going to be a medium level, a mid risk for some flooding. You can see from Hillsborough to Durham to Chapel Hill, this is where we have a flood advisory that's in effect until 7 a.m. We've already seen 1 to 2 inches of rain in that area, and you can see we'll widen out the view. Plenty of rain from Raleigh to Durham, all the way down to Sanford, and then up near the Virginia line. Not so much for, say, Goldsboro, Fayetteville, down into the Sandhills, but you'll most likely have your chance a little later on today. Definitely fairly heavy there along 540, just west of Raleigh, and then especially along the I-85 corridor. So plan some extra time. Be careful out there. Here's a look at Futurecast. It doesn't really improve as we get through the morning. There's 7 a.m. still lots of rain out there. And then potentially starting around lunchtime, we have a band of some very heavy rain that comes through, likely to have some thunder and lightning, and that one could affect the evening commute. So definitely going to be a wet, cool day. It is pouring in Chapel Hill right now. I mean, that rain is really coming down. 70 is the temperature with a dew point at 69, and we'll hold it in the low 70s for this afternoon. We had a little sneak peek at the Storm Tracker just a few minutes ago. Storm Tracker is out on 40, headed over toward Durham. That's where Kelsey Coffey is taking a look at some of that heavy rain. Kelsey?
Yes, Elizabeth, just within the past 10 or 15 minutes, we started to see that rain pick up some. So we'll give you a live look now at road conditions here on 40 West in Raleigh. Be sure to watch out for any low-lying areas as you are headed out on your morning commute. We know that we've seen already at least 1.5 inches of rain. I checked in with our meteorologist team before the newscast, and that they say that that's what we have already seen, and we could possibly see 1 to 2 more inches. So just be careful out there as you are driving out on your morning commute. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News. I'm in Raleigh.
And remember, you can stay on top of the forecast with the newly redesigned WRAL weather app. It is free to download and use. Turn on push notifications so you can get important weather alerts sent right to your home screen.
And we are monitoring power outages this morning in Durham with the weather that's coming down and tough roads out there. WRAL's Allie Cadlebar is in Durham this morning. Allie, what can you tell us from your vantage point there?
Yes, well, we are in the car right now, and over the past 50 minutes, we've been following some utility crews that are working this outage that's impacting more than 650 customers here in the Durham area. This is South Roxborough Street. We've seen a lot of dark areas, and we just within the past 5 minutes, a third utility truck got here. It looks like they're scanning for the utility lines and the trees. They have been stopped here for about 10 minutes so far. So we do expect that they're going to be doing some work and hoping to restore power by 7 a.m. That's according to the outage map. We're going to be out here tracking the latest. Reporting in Durham, Allie Cadlebar, WRAL News.
The woman who owns the boat that crashed at Harris Lake, killing a 10-year-old girl, is expected to be in court this afternoon. Brooklyn Carroll was hit and killed on the lake over the weekend. She was a rising fifth grader at West Lake Elementary in Apex. Jennifer Staley, a social worker at the school, was also badly hurt in the crash. Anne Marie Flanagan owns the boat and that hit them. She and her boyfriend, Quentin Kite, were both charged. Investigators say Kite was driving. Investigators say they recovered nearly 40 beer cans from the boat. Kite has a history of DWI in New Mexico and a pending charge in Moore County. And Brooklyn Carroll's family has released their first statement since the crash. It said in part, "Our lives were shattered when our daughter Brooklyn died. For the 10 years that she was alive, B filled our lives with joy and laughter." The Carroll family is asking for privacy as they grieve.
A Durham mom whose 4-year-old died in an accidental shooting will be in court today on an involuntary manslaughter charge. The shooting happened back in June, and police say Kamarlee Patterson died after he found an unsecured gun and accidentally shot himself. Tiara MacArthur was charged after turning herself in to police. In an interview only on WRAL, MacArthur says she's taking responsibility, and she says she doesn't want any other parent to go through what she has.
I will never be okay. I will never get to see my son again. I'll never get to hear my son tell me he loved me. I'll never get a kiss from my son. My daughter will never see her brother again. She talks about him all the time.
MacArthur says after her son's death, she will never own another gun. She's encouraging other parents to get rid of theirs.
And WRAL has been digging into similar accidental shooting incidents this year, and in those cases, the charges were less severe. In May, a 2-year-old boy was injured after getting an unsecured gun that belonged to his uncle. He was charged with failing to store a firearm to protect minors. Also in May, a mother and father faced a similar charge following the accidental shooting death of their child. Unsecured weapons in homes is a subject of a WRAL documentary. You can watch Unsafe: North Carolina Kids Dying from Gun Violence right now on WRAL.com.
Raleigh police are investigating a hit-and-run crash. It happened last night near the intersection of Newbern Avenue and Trawick Road. One person was seriously injured. Police say the driver of the car left but came back to the scene. There's no word on whether police will file charges.
New information about the investigation into a house fire where 3 people were found dead inside. This was the scene in June at the home on Rand Road in southern Wake County. An autopsy says 2 teen boys were shot and killed before that fire started. Their father, Shannon Collins, is suspected of shooting them before turning the gun on himself. The autopsy says the boys were staying with their father while their parents went through divorce proceedings.
Looking ahead, the State Board of Elections will now have to meet to decide how to handle early voting in Cumberland County. This comes after county elections officials failed to reach an agreement on early voting plans for November. The state will now have to step in and decide where and when people can go to cast their ballots for local races this year. The new GOP majority in Cumberland County has considered cutting early voting availability at Cliffdale Recreation Center. That's a historically black part of West Fayetteville. That brought community activists like Demetria Murphy to the meeting.
I got a text message at like 5:30 this morning, right, that they wanted to remove Cliffdale from the early voting site. And I'm like, that's insane.
Republican board members said having one extra early voting site for Cumberland County at that location gave Democratic politicians an unfair partisan advantage.
An NC State student charged in a series of shootings that terrorized drivers along I-40 has been ordered to get mental health treatment. A judge said Andrew Graney needs to be treated for schizophrenia, saying he is incapable to proceed with a trial at this time. During the shooting spree last fall, 4 homes and 8 vehicles were hit with gunfire. 1 woman was hurt. Graney faces a dozen charges, including assault with a dangerous weapon.
This morning, President Trump is warning he may raise tariffs on a U.S. key trading partner, India, as his latest round of tariffs are set to go into effect at midnight. India is already facing a 25% import tax put in place last week because the country is still buying oil from Russia. The president did not say what the new tariff rate India could be charged with if it continues to buy oil from Russia. India's Ministry of External Affairs says they began importing the oil because their traditional supply from Europe was diverted after the start of the war in Ukraine.
Governor Josh Stein is calling for federal funding to help recover from Chantal. The storm brought torrential rain and flooding to our area a month ago today. Stein has officially declared Chantal a state disaster. The move frees up money to go directly to people in need. The order covers 6 counties in our area, including Wake and Durham. The governor's office estimates Chantal caused more than $40 million worth of damage.
PBS North Carolina is cutting costs in response to the loss of federal funding. Voluntary separation packages are being offered to most permanent employees. The network is also putting a hiring freeze in place. Vacant positions are being eliminated. The organization says the new law canceling funds for public broadcasting is a loss of nearly $5 million for PBS-NC. Stuck in line, an NC State assistant coach live tweeted his 8-hour-long wait at the DMV. WRAL got his reaction when he finally emerged.
And construction site thefts. 2 people caught on camera stealing from a building materials. The search for the suspects this morning.
And we'll give you this live look right now in Chapel Hill, right there at the intersection of Franklin Street. It is raining hard this morning. Today's WRAL weather alert day, and meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner will time out the storms and scattered showers where you are today.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
444, we have a new flash flood warning that's in effect for parts of Durham County and Orange County here, especially around Chapel Hill and Durham. We've already seen 1 to 2 inches of rainfall in this area just recently, and we could see another 1 to 2 inches. So be especially careful. You know your route in the morning. You know those places that tend to flood fairly easily, fairly regularly, especially in parts of Orange and Durham County. Be especially careful. Notice that heavy rain does continue up near the Virginia line. Not as much of that from, say, Sanford and Goldsboro southward, but Chatham County, Durham, and Orange County, and the near the Virginia line is where we're most concerned, at least to start with. But we'll have more heavy rain that develops and moves across the entire area through the day today. 60% chance starting at 7 a.m. and then around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it's more of a 70% chance. So pretty much everybody will end up seeing rain. Coming down to Durham right now, very heavily. Our temperatures are ranging from the mid-60s to low 70s, so it's a mild start this morning. And it stays cool today, too. 60s to low to mid-70s for highs this afternoon.
In Orange County this morning, the search is on for a couple accused of stealing from construction sites. Take a look at your screen right here. Deputies say the people in these surveillance photos have taken building materials from a construction site right on McKee Road, and they've done it at least 2 times. They ask anyone with information to call the Orange County Sheriff's Office. The town of Zebulon has reached an agreement on a rezoning ordinance for a new residential development. Zebulon South will be located between Arundel and Wakefield. Now, it'll be on more than 100 acres, and the community will include 8 affordable housing units with a 15% cap on rental properties.
A groundbreaking in Henderson brought new life to a historic building. This is the Franklin Vance Warren Opportunities new headquarters and Jubilee Center today. The nonprofit is transforming its office building to a place where people can celebrate the contributions of the Black community. It used to be the Jubilee Hospital, the only one within 40 miles that treated Black patients. The building will have a new front with space for art, culture, gatherings, and more. A $2.7 million investment from the USDA Rural Development helped make this possible. Well, long lines at the DMV continue to plague the state. Even local college coaches are sharing their frustration. That includes NC State's assistant basketball coach, Brandon Chambers. He documented his 8-hour experience on X Tuesday afternoon. Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie had the chance to talk with him after that long wait.
When NC State assistant coach Brandon Chambers got here at 5:45 this morning, this is where he was, number 28 in line. It took more than 2 hours just to work his way around the building and get onto the virtual waiting list. He and state leaders in both parties all agree the DMV is in disarray. NC State assistant men's basketball coach Brandon Chambers just moved here from Louisiana. He's trying to get his North Carolina license.
Last week, I went to 3 different DMVs, and they were all full. And the irony and kind of catch-22 of everything is that you have to switch over your stuff, but you can't get an appointment.
He thought 5:45 a.m. would be early enough to get here.
I was 28th in line. Yeah, it was. I thought when I pulled up, I was like, there's no way.
Chambers posted humorous updates on social media all day, even buying donuts for everyone, including the DMV staff.
Look, if we're going to be here and there's no enjoyment out of this, we might as well have some fun and again, that's why I bought the donuts. I mean, who doesn't like a donut?
The dysfunction at the DMV is now officially a bipartisan issue. Democratic Governor Josh Stein says he agrees with most of the audit released Monday by Republican State Auditor Dave Bullock, saying the DMV is understaffed, underfunded, and overworked.
We need more people. We also need to improve our policies. The auditor identified some solutions. We've already been implementing many of those on our own.
How do you think we got here?
I think we're a fast-growing state. We're like the third fastest-growing state in the country. We add tons of people on a daily basis. There hasn't been an increase in DMV folks in a long time.
Chambers agrees on the need for more staff. He said the people here were doing the best they could with the resources they had. There just weren't enough of them.
You're asking them to do 3 or 4 people's jobs at once, and that's tough to juggle.
Laura Leslie bringing us that report there. At least he had a good attitude about it. And with the heat we've had lately, you wouldn't want to be standing outside for very long. And then today, Elizabeth, we have all that rain. You wouldn't want to be standing out in this either today.
You definitely don't want to be. And you want to be careful driving in it as well. It's a weather alert day due to a risk for flash flooding. We have our first flash flood warning that is in effect for the morning. And that includes parts of Chapel Hill and Durham. Just taking a quick look at where this is. This looks like some of the same locations where we had flooding from Chantal just a few weeks ago. So be especially careful along the Eno River here across parts of Durham County and Morgan Creek and Chapel Hill. Those are areas that could flood. This flash flood warning extends all the way until 7:45. Already we've seen 1 to 2 inches fall in this area and could see another 1 to 2 inches over the next few hours. So just be especially careful. If you live in those areas, you know the places that tend to see the water rising fast. Be especially careful in those places. We continue to have some heavier rain north of Durham County along the I-85 corridor, but we haven't seen as much in our southern counties. So once again, this just looks like it's focused mainly at the moment, at least Durham and Orange County. Those are the areas we're going to want to watch carefully, but don't discount those northern counties either, where that rainfall is coming down very, very heavily. Let's talk about our 24-hour rainfall so far, and you can see the purple shaded area here in Orange County, back in Alamance County, parts of Chatham County and Durham County. This is where we've easily seen 2 to 2.5 inches at least estimated there on radar, and this is nowhere close to over. We're going to see this rain continuing to fall for much of the day. So it's a medium risk for flooding for almost the entire viewing area. So no matter where you are looking at that potential for some flooding. We check out Futurecast. Futurecast shows a heavier band of rain coming in later today. Lots of rain this morning, especially from the Triangle area northward. And then around lunchtime into early afternoon, the potential for a very heavy band, which could cause even more problems in areas that aren't seeing a whole lot of rain yet this morning. So just on an average, we could end up seeing anywhere from another 1 to 2 inches. But obviously, there are going to be pockets where that is heavier. Thursday, we're also under a risk for flooding, and Friday that risk begins to taper off just a little bit. So we have a flood watch in effect. We do have a flash flood warning in effect again for parts of Orange and Durham counties. And just be careful out there. Download that WRAL weather app. Here's a look at Chapel Hill, and that rain is coming down very heavily. Right now it is 70 degrees. It is going to stay cool today with 74 degrees. We do continue with a chance of some showers and thunderstorms on into the weekend.
Well, thanks for that, Elizabeth. In the running, Lady Gaga is leading the nominees for the most video music awards of the year.
Which award she's up for and when you can watch the show.